Hello everybody, welcome back. Happy Friday. We've got a bunch of cool, fresh finds to show you guys. Been finding some really cool guitars lately. We have, I think, about a dozen guitars to check out. We're gonna plug a couple of them in and have some fun today. We've got quite a bit of vintage stuff actually today, so let's start with a couple of vintage ones. This first one is from 1968, and it is a Fender Coronado 2 in Antigua. This is a really, really special guitar. It's in pretty nice shape too. It definitely has some wear, obviously some checking throughout, as you can see here. But it's really cool. It's also aged really well. It used to be all that color, and then now it's obviously yellowed out quite a bit, I would say tastefully, and now here's what you get. But yeah, very cool, all original example, even down to the original case here, which is pretty hard to find. So I was very excited to find this one. And I will say, it sounds as good as it looks, or if you hate how this looks, I'd say it sounds better than it looks. As you can tell from the case, we have another old one here. So keeping with the theme of 60s, we have a 1966 Gibson ES 125T. This is one of Gibson's thin line ES guitars. So you get just one P90. They even did a version of this called the ES 120T, where you get just like a regular single coil. But I much prefer this version where you get the P90 pickup. Obviously sounds much better. Perfectly in tune. But these are really cool guitars if you're looking for like a vintage Gibson of this era that's still attainable. This is a really great place to look, as with this pickup you still get all the tone, all the playability you're looking for, but because this model in particular doesn't have any like crazy like prominence, it's actually not super expensive. Cool checking on the back there. Another fun fact. This has a 2 there, meaning that this was actually a factory second. So while everything would have been up to par for Gibson standards, there was just like some sort of cosmetic blemish. Obviously at this point, there's no real way to know what that blemish was. But yeah, this would have been sold as a second back in the day. Keeping with Gibson, but going newer this time. Not the original case. This is a cool one. These are actually quite hard to find. This is a Gibson SG Classic. Now we all know the Les Paul Classic, but they actually did an SG Classic as well for a short amount of time. I think most of these were a Musician's Friend exclusive, and it's funny because these actually aren't that similar to Les Paul Classic. You get P90 pickups instead of humbuckers, but this is kind of a blend of a SG Standard and an SG Special, kind of takes the best of both worlds. So I really like this model. They're not super common. This is one of the only ones that we've ever had, and I've only seen like a few of them in my entire time doing this. So when I saw this one, I know I had to have it. Doesn't get much more classy than ebony. Also, look at that rosewood board. This is just a really solid SG through and through, so I like this one. Also, I'll say neck-wise, for an SG, it's actually a little bit thick. It's probably in like 59 territory, speaking on like Les Pauls. This is very solid overall. I wish they did more of this model because I think for a lot of people, this will check a lot of boxes. This one just came in with this kind of generic case. We didn't get the original SG case. I don't know if this would have originally had like hard case or a bag, but now it has a fitted case that is just not a Gibson case, but still perfect for it. We're gonna check out a couple bases here. If you recognize this case, then you'll have somewhat of an idea of what era this is gonna be from. Not an original latch there to my knowledge. I think someone must have added that. I don't know. Here we have a 1978 P-Bass with the rosewood board. I love finding these late 70s P-Basses. They sound fantastic. They can be pretty heavy. This one's not too bad, but it's definitely not light. I will note, a previous owner actually added a screw right there. I think they were using this as like some sort of string tree, but it works, so we left it. But otherwise, totally an original bass and pretty rad. So yeah, very cool find. I think I said this a couple videos ago, but we actually haven't been finding like a crazy amount of 70s Fender until maybe like a month ago. We found some stuff then, and then since then we found like a bunch more. So I feel like we went almost an entire year with very few Fenders coming in from the 70s. So it's nice to see getting more of this stuff in. I don't know, somewhat luck of the draw what we actually get in. I always say we find stuff in pairs, which is really interesting. Like we'll find one of something that we haven't had in a long time, or maybe we've never had before, and then we always end up finding another one like really soon after that on a lot of stuff, which I think is because once you have one, or once I buy one, I start thinking about that item more, and then when I see one in the wild, I've already done the research. I know like exactly what I should be paying for that guitar, and so maybe that makes things easier, but I don't know, it's interesting. I'll feel like I won't see something for a long time, and then I'll see a bunch all at once. In all these years of doing this, I never had a Fender 25th anniversary Stratocaster until about a month ago, and then we got 2 of them in within 2 days. So weird things happen. What would complement a Fender Precision bass more than a Fender Jazz bass? And this is an older one too. This one is from 1975. But what's really interesting with this one is it's super clean, especially for the year. I mean, this thing looks excellent, which is really, really great to see. Totally original example, so you love to see it. Obviously, very well taken care of, but as you see here, this is a 4-bolt. So by 75, most of the Jazz basses had transitioned over to being a 3-bolt, but this one still has the 4-bolt, which a lot of people prefer. This shares more specs with kind of the generation before, if you will. This is probably one of the last 4-bolt Jazz basses. This is just a really well-kept example. It sounds really great. Actually, it sounds so great that I think we're gonna go plug it in and see what it sounds like. You wouldn't believe it, but another 70s Fender, and going even older once again. The 75 Jazz bass is something that is pretty commonly reissued, but more commonly reissued than that is the 1972 Stratocaster, and it's aged really, really well too. This one is also in really nice shape, maybe a little bit more wear than the Jazz bass, but it's also a little older, so we'll cut it some slack. But yeah, just some really kind of tasteful, natural wear, nothing crazy. Even has the original case with it, so that's pretty rad. We did not get any candy, but we do have the original arm with it. So once again, very well preserved example. This one sounds incredible, and I just love you. The closer you look at the finish, the more you can kind of see the checking, and just this is a lot of Strat here. Now, the early 70s stuff like this, specifically like a 72, is gonna go for quite a bit more than like a mid to late 70s guitar. The further you go back, the more they have in common with the 60s guitars, obviously, which are a lot more highly revered, but this is still a lot of guitar for the money, maybe not as accessible as like a late 70s Strat, but I still think that this is a good value for what it is, and I like this one a lot. I think we're gonna plug this one in too. We're gonna check out another Strat here, and this is a really hard to find one. This is one that I had not seen until I ran into this guitar, and I just thought it was so cool, I knew we had to have it. This is a Fender USA FSR Special Run Rustic Ash Stratocaster, which is incredibly hard to find. So yeah, that is a natural ash finish there that's already starting to age quite a bit. But this is really, really cool. All this figuring and stuff, this is how it would come from the factory. You can see how it's kind of discolored there and worn in. That's wear from somebody playing it and enjoying it, as they should. But yeah, these are kind of supposed to look rustic, obviously, hence the name from the factory. Otherwise, these are fairly similar to an American Standard, but just so cool to see it with this finish. Yeah, I really, really like this one, and I was very happy to find it. It's pretty light too, so if you like light Strats, and you like the aesthetic of this, I would check this one out. Check out this crazy gig bag here. This obviously gives away kind of what we're gonna be looking at here. But once again, it's quite hard to find. This is a Ibanez Destroyer DT870 bass. You got 3 pickups, all black, gold hardware. Pretty sick. All original example, which is really cool to find. Even down to these kind of like almost wingnut-esque strap locks, strap buttons, I should say. This is a great bass, sounds really unique. And it's just cool to see it so well preserved in this condition and with this crazy gig bag too. For all the Japanese collectors, this is a good one and we're very stoked to have it. We're gonna check these next two out together. They're both very different and similar. Now, both of these are ES335 style guitars. They are both made in Japan, but one is actually made by Gibson somewhat, and the other one is not. Here we have a 1978 Greco SA 700. This comes loaded with the Maxon U2000 pickups, which are very sought after and for good reason. This is a great sounding 335 style guitar and kind of in the upper echelon of the Greco 335s. See there, 1978. And yeah, all original example. There's some wear in the binding, but otherwise this is really, really clean and has obviously been very well taken care of, which is great to see as there's not that many like perfect examples of these out there. So this was very exciting to find. I don't see these very often, and this is a good one. Now, again, this one's made in Japan, but this is actually a Orville by Gibson. So this is a Japanese-made guitar that Gibson had licensed under the Orville brand, which we're actually doing a whole video on really soon, which I'm really excited to do, which is part of why I knew we had to have this guitar, as I really wanted to show this in the video. But yeah, this is from the Orville by Gibson line. There was an Orville line, which was their kind of Japanese standard guitars, which would have like a poly finish and Japanese pickups, but then they had a higher tier that was the Orville by Gibson line, and these would feature a lacquer finish and Gibson USA electronics. And this is one of those higher tier guitars. Man, this is everything that a Gibson ES335 would be of this era, so this is pretty tough to beat. This example is in really, really nice shape, and I will say it sounds as good as it looks. So yeah, if you're looking for a 335, this is definitely a good one to check out. Both of these are really great, but they're very different. I definitely enjoy them both in their own ways, but yeah, I don't know between the two if there's a favorite. They kind of do their own thing. All right, we've come down to our last guitar, and this is one that we have to plug in because it sounds incredible. Once again, made in Japan. This one is an Ibanez AR300. A lot of you guys have been saying we need to get more Ibanez artist guitars in, and I couldn't agree more. So when I came across this one, I knew that we had to have it and that it was a good fit for us. But yeah, this one is from 1981. It's a really, really nice shape for its age. You can see there's some wear in the binding, but otherwise this is really, really clean. This example is totally original, and this has the Screamin' 58 pickups, which they sound quite good. We'll hear them in a minute, but this is just a great vintage Ibanez through and through, and you love to see it. Let's see what it sounds like. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to hang out with us today and check out all this new gear. Let me know down below in the comments which one was your favorite. It's really tough for me to pick a favorite from all these, but I really like the 72 Strat, and I also really like that 75 Jazz Bass, just because it's so clean. We've got a lot of really cool videos in the works that I'm really excited to share with you guys, so make sure you subscribe and like and comment and share and all that good stuff, because that's what keeps us going. But yeah, be on the lookout for some new videos, and we will see you there soon. Bye.